She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Imagine having a family member not being able to function and earn as much of an income as you're accustomed to. These kind of things are real. Imagine having a family and not knowing how you're going to put food on the table, yet you made some decisions along the way that actually helped to prepare you for that tough time of suffering. And because of what you learned, you were able to apply and really bypass more suffering and more pain. Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Today's going to be an awesome day. I believe with my whole heart that you're going to get inspired. You're also going to be challenged. I believe that on your journey for success, as I'm on the same kind of a journey, we all are working on a journey heading towards our destiny. I know that you know there's a calling that's calling out to you, and that there is a life and a people that are assigned to you, and that there's a destiny that has your name attached to it. And that's why we do the show every single day. The Dani Johnson Show is about your success and your journey and helping you to define what success is for you. Because honestly, if somebody was called to be a school teacher and yet they decided instead that being a school teacher just, everyone put it down and thought, oh, that isn't good enough or whatever, and they decided to go and be in the corporate world, that person will be completely miserable in the corporate world, putting on that suit every day, dealing with all the bashing that happens, the high pressure, the 60, 70, 80-hour weeks, and all the instability that can happen in that world, as well as so often we see just a lot of immorality. And yet that person that was born to teach, to train up the next generation, and they denied themselves what the calling was, that is not success at all. That person who is following what they were born to do, that person who is living their life according to that thing that was written for them. And man, I'm telling you, when you finally surrender to the calling and purpose of your life, everything just seems to fit. That doesn't mean that there's not suffering. That doesn't mean that there's not trouble. But that does mean that it just feels right. It just feels right. And so here today, we're going to be talking about your success. You're going to be inspired by two clients who have learned some amazing things, but more importantly, how they used it, how they applied it. Are you in a situation where you have less income than what you're accustomed to and you have to figure out how to make ends meet? That's exactly where Dawn Hill found herself. Dawn is joining me today from Oklahoma. I know you're going to be inspired. She's going to share some tips about how they were managed to go through a really tough financial time, and as well as an emotional time, a stress on the marriage, a stress as parents for the kids, and how they were able to overcome and endure. Later on in the show, you're going to hear from a gentleman from Canada who is an entrepreneur of several different businesses. Him too, man, grew up with a single mom and had a messy childhood, but boy, he learned some skills on how to pay for college, paying cash for it, even while he was in college, pay off debt, and start businesses and prosper greatly. So today is going to inspire you. It's going to show you that, man, if these two people can overcome what they've overcome, then you most certainly can too. No matter what financial or family matters that you're dealing with right now, or even career matters you're dealing with right now, there's always a solution. There's always a solution, and you do not have to just bury your head and cover your head with the covers and go back to bed and eat a bunch of donuts. No, there is a solution out there for you, and that's exactly what Dawn had found. Dawn, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, Dani. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for joining us today. Raven actually shared your story with me, and I was so excited when I heard it and thought, man, we got to get her on the show. I think you would be a great inspiration for a lot of people, because a lot of people are suffering through what your family went through back in 2013. So tell us, what happened with your husband at the end of 2013?
In December, actually, I know the day because it was one of those remarkable days. It was December 17th, 2013. We'd kind of already been in a tough season, but that day in particular, he suffered a break-in to his vehicle. He's a volunteer firefighter and EMT, and the only stuff they took was all of his volunteer medical stuff. And that was just kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for him. He already felt like life sucked, and he didn't see any hope, and our finances and our whole life really resembled that at that time. For him, he didn't really have any hope. He didn't have a relationship with God, at least not one he was talking about, and he just lost it. He actually wanted me to take him down to the place where it had happened. He was armed at the time, and I was like, yeah, that's a bad idea. So that ended up, that night was a long night, but that ended up beginning the season of him just shutting down as a father and as a husband.
What do you mean? What do you mean by shutting down? What did shutting down look like?
Shutting down for us looked like he just went through the motions of waking up, but sometimes he never got out of bed. He was completely depressed. He didn't talk to us. Sometimes if he did, it was just yelling and shouting because he was so angry at the situation. He normally is the most hardworking, amazing man, loving on our kids and on me at the same time. And so for him to just not want to be around us, he either was in bed or gone. And when he was gone, he was usually trying to find work, but sometimes it was for a week here, a week there. It just always seemed something was coming up that he would call me and say, okay, that didn't work out again.
Wow.
So.
Wow. And you know, sometimes when you get in that cycle of depression and that cycle of just being beat up by your thoughts, really, that's what he was being beat up by. When you get beat up like that and you go out and try to get a job, you try to interview, you try to land something, it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. It just continues this downward spiral of, see, I'm worthless. See, nothing ever works for me. Why is everything so difficult? And then even afraid to believe, afraid to, like, you know, count on or have faith in something or to try to even be positive. It's like such a massive battle. Once you have allowed yourself to get into that pit, it's so hard to climb yourself out. All right. So what happened next?
Well, I just knew at that point, I had been to a couple of your events. I had been to specifically First Steps and Dynasty. Thank goodness that I've been to Dynasty in 2013. Because at First Steps, we learn a lot about, you know, the basics, I guess, is what everybody says it is, about forgiveness and about gyms. That was huge in my family at that point, being able to recognize what gym my kids were and being able to love
their personality
them in a way that their dad wasn't able to. And also recognize that he was just lost. And although I was fighting, I felt like I was fighting against him, it truly wasn't a fight against him. It was a fight against something much more powerful. And that may sound fairly strange to some people, but I truly have a belief that there's a warfare that goes on in life, and we were kind of in the middle of warfare. So when I went to Dynasty, I got opened up to the fact that, first of all, I got set free of a bunch of that warfare, a bunch of lies that I believed about myself, about my mom. I was able to do some forgiveness for her, which completely changed her countenance.
Okay, Dawn, hold on 1 second, because I want to make sure that we just hone in on some very specific things. You said that you went to First Steps and GEMS. GEMS is our personality training. There's 4 basic personalities. They're all inside of your home. When you don't understand what the giftings and the strengths are of each person in your house and how they're wired, how they were knitted together in their mother's womb with a specific calling, specific gifting, and specific weaknesses, we fight against each other and we try to change each other to be more like ourselves, which we're not. There's only one of us, and our job is not to get everyone to be like us. Our job is to release people into what they are called to be and what they were designed to be, and their uniqueness and their form and their personality and the way they approach life. And so the GEMS training program taught Dawn, first of all, oh my goodness, look at these different personalities in my house, and no wonder these people fight, and wow, no wonder we're stressed out and striving each other, and so you learn how to bring more harmony in the home, know how to motivate your kids, knew how to motivate yourself, and learned a little bit more about your husband. So, but back at Dynasty, you said that you believed some lies. Dawn, what lies did you believe about yourself?
I just believed that I wasn't worthy. That because of all the abuse that I had had as a child, I believe that my mom allowed that to happen to me. Now I know she didn't allow it. She just didn't know how to stop it. I believed that I was worthless, that I was no good. It was just things that have been spoken over me my whole life. That I would fail at everything, that I was ugly, fat, stupid, pretty much anything you could think of. That's what I believed walking in to Dynasty. I didn't realize I carried all that still. I thought a lot of it I had laid down. But that night specifically, that Friday night where we did the spiritual equipping, I felt like I had to stand up every time you would call for something to be broken off, because my family had witchcraft in it, because my family had sexual sin in it. I just kept feeling like I had to stand up for all of that, and luckily I was open to that and received the fact that God wanted to free me from all those lies. He wanted to tell me that He did love me, that I was worthy, that I could do this, that He was with me, He never left me, that there's no condemnation in Him.
Yes. Wow. And what amazing equipping and preparation for the year that was ahead of you. Because the year that was ahead of you was your husband had no work. The year that was ahead of you was going to be a financially stressful, trying, even a financial suffering. And yet, and this is what I love about God. This is one of the many things I love about Him. He's always preparing us for what's next, right? And not every chapter in our life is Disneyland. And a lot of people, I'm serious, a lot of people, they think that's how it is. They think, I'm going to give my life over to God and then, everything is going to be like rainbows and lilies. No. If you actually read the best success book ever written, there's a ton of suffering in there. It's reality check of life. And we've got to be wise and mature in understanding that each chapter of our life is different. Each season is different. And some seasons are winter. And during the winter, nothing grows. Everything's dead, cold, brittle, broken, but then there's springtime. We're like, ooh, hey, things are starting to look a little bit brighter. And then summertime, things are starting to grow. Harvest time, bam, man, we're doing awesome. What follows the harvest time? Winter. Death. Suffering. And it's so funny because I spent so much time in my life, Dawn, where I was surprised when the winter season would come in my life.
I used to be too.
Just oh no, no, this is winter. It's okay. It's supposed to be this way. And the awesome thing that comes out of winter is that the things that shouldn't be in our life need to die. Like in Dawn's case, old mindsets and beliefs that she was worthless, belief that she was fat and ugly, beliefs that she should have never been born. Those are the things that have to die and be done in that winter season. And look, God, wait till you hear the rest of their story because it's so awesome and so powerful. And I'm going to have her share a few tips, specific things she did to overcome some bad financial adversity. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First steps to success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
For families in Santa Pancha, Nicaragua, life is filled with fear and struggle. They don't have enough food for their kids, clean water is hard to find, and they're living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel on top of mining tunnels that could explode and sink at any moment. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming this village. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha to see how you can help. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org, and click on Santa Pancha.
No donkeys, no elephants, no blaming, and no excuses. Just real solutions that will really change things. That's real leadership. It's the Dani Johnson Show.
Do you realize that you're being prepared for greatness? You're being prepared for something that is important for you to do. And even if you're near that season of your life where it is negative and everything seems to be dying and everything seems to be hard and everything seems to cause you suffering or some kind of pain or striving, listen, my friend, you are being prepared for something great. There's always a winter before a spring. There's always a winter before a spring. And during that winter season, that's where doubt can come in. That's where fear can come in. But the point of the winter seasons of life is to break off the things that are stopping us, is to recognize those boundaries that we've created for ourselves that are not healthy, that are not good, and begin to work through creating healthier boundaries. Really coming against some of the mindsets that we've had. This is where Dawn found herself. 2013, she came out to First Steps to Success and Creating a Dynasty, which is where she was able to grow not only as a woman, but as a wife, as a mother, as a daughter of the Most High God. And this prepared her for the next winter season that was following just last year, a season of a lack of finances, a season of a husband who had a nervous breakdown. And that happens. That I know of several people right this minute that are in the middle of a nervous breakdown. And so that's a season of rest. It's time to rest. It's time to reevaluate. It's time to make some new decisions. It's time to take a step back and look at my life and go, hold on a second here. What really is important to me? So Dawn, you came out of Dynasty. Your husband then has this nervous breakdown, like, a month later or whatever. It seems like it. If you were Dynasty in November, is that what Dynasty you're at in 2013? Oh. Dawn?
Are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like 17 days or something crazy. It was like immediately. I thought I went to Dynasty to learn about our finances. Honestly thought that's what God baited it with. That's what I thought I was there for. Had no idea what I was walking into.
That's so amazing. I just love how he does that. You know what I mean? He prepares us for something that we're not even aware is going to happen. Okay, so in that next year, so 2014, your husband is pretty much out of work. He's out of emotional commission, right? He is not being able to function, and you were prepared on how to handle that. How did you handle that?
Right. I just decided that I had to step up. Whether I wanted to or not, whether I felt like I could or not, that was not the issue at that point. I didn't have a choice. And so I just took that little seed of faith and that little bit that God had told me that I was worthy and I could do this. And I just started using my skills as a massage therapist here in the area. I used that with my home business product, and I kind of married two things together like you teach. And I was able to, God provided clients, and I worked on exposing myself as a massage therapist. And so even when he would get a small check or something, I just kept building him up and thanking him and appreciating him the whole time, even though at times that's not anything that I wanted to do. And I had people on all sides of me telling me, leave, get a divorce.
To leave your husband because he's going through this hard time.
Right.
Wow. So you were blessing his small contributions that he was making and encouraging him during that time. That's so awesome. I'm really proud of you. That's a real wife. That's a real wife right there. Not putting him down, but lifting him up.
And we never stopped giving. I never stopped tithing during that time, whether it was $1, $5, $10. I just never stopped because I knew something inside me. I just knew that the times in our lives where we were totally blessed before, even though we didn't set things aside, were the times that we were honoring God with our money, with our tithe.
Yeah.
So whether it was, honest to goodness, whether it was $1 or $12, and a lot of times it was those amounts, I just kept giving. I just kept sowing. I just knew that that's what I had to do.
That's incredible. And so that's amazing. Because you know what? I've watched this happen, especially when we saw the big crash in 2008. It was so sad, because we are a part of a charity, King's Ransom Foundation. And our charity grew in the midst of the biggest financial collapse in modern history. And yet I was getting calls from charities all over the place going, how are you guys growing? We are suffering. And I was like, wow, God really blessed us and sustained us during that time. But what I found out was that givers stopped giving right away. They wouldn't stop eating out. They wouldn't stop shopping at the mall. They wouldn't stop their Netflix video subscription. They wouldn't stop their $200 a month phone bill for just one person in the house, plus you add everybody else, you're at $500 a month for phone bills. They wouldn't stop their luxuries, but they quickly stopped taking care of the poor when that crash happened. I am so proud of you, Dawn, that you did not stop, that you continued to give even though you were in need. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Dani will be back with more expert business, money, and relationship advice to help you live the uncommon life. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
But I'm so blessed that I found what is in Grooming the Next Generation for Success. This is a book that is being taught in universities around the world. It's been noted as the best book on parenting that has ever been written. Crazy, if you ask me. But the point is that this thing gets results. Get your copy today, 888-757-8880. Again, that's 888-757-8880. Or go to DaniJohnson.com. That's DANI Johnson.com. Get your copy today.
If you've ever wanted to make millions, change the world, be the voice for the voiceless, and have a blast doing it, then you need to spend some time with this lady right here. She's been doing it for years, and she'll show you how. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
So no matter what situation that you find yourself in, I promise you what is lurking around the corner is a solution. This is where Dawn found herself. Her husband has a nervous breakdown. They're in financial dire straits. She doesn't do what a lot of women do, which is leave him. She didn't take the advice of those that were around her, telling her to get a divorce because her husband was not able to provide in that season of his life. But instead, she persevered, she encouraged, and she used some financial skills that she learned at First Steps to Success and Creating a Dynasty to help sustain them through this trying, horrible year. So, Dawn, I know that you looked at your tax returns recently, and in 2014, you guys made $14,000.
Right, and if you take that in comparison to the year before, we made $74,000.
Wow!
So you talk about a winter season coming, no matter what. We didn't prepare, and part of that is just we didn't know. But part of it is we weren't. I did know, but I didn't apply what I knew.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I sat there recently going, wow. I mean, I was just overwhelmed with the fact that we took that much of a pay cut and we made it. I mean, God just sustained us. And, I mean, there was a couple months we did go and get food stamps because Scott was insistent and I was being honoring to him. That's the most awful feeling I've ever had, and I never want to do that again. So another one of those things that I learned, the law of decision, I just decided that whatever we had to do, whatever I had to do, we were getting out of this. We're not going back there again.
Yep.
So we'll be smarter. We'll be preparing. We'll be, grateful and giving and whatever it takes.
Yep.
And that was huge because once I made that decision, I made that a little before tax time, but things started to change. When I came from an event, I went to another event in Cincinnati in October of 14, and heard a lady tell her story and realized the only difference between her and I was she had her butt in the seat a lot more than I did.
Yep.
And God showed me gently, but what I needed really, a wake-up call that if I was using and applying the little bit that I had learned, what if I went more? What if I got more?
Yep.
What could we do for my family? Could we have avoided some of that? Possibly.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt.
Yeah,
undoubtedly.
Sure.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because making $74,000 in a year and then going down to $14,000 is harsh, but it shows you something, doesn't it? That you actually didn't need to make $60,000.
Right. And actually, because of our war on debt skills, that was another thing that we were able to use during that year. I mean, I feed my family on less than $100 a week, just like you do. Mm-hmm. But during that time, I was able to get extremely creative and use every single thing we were either given or bought.
Yes.
We ate some things that maybe my family wasn't thrilled about, but we never went hungry and we were never homeless.
Yep.
And that I credit to God, because there was months where the money didn't look like it should work, but it did. I mean, it just did.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love this story because it's not your typical story. So often, especially once a week, we interview two of our clients and we highlight them as the heroes of our community and the heroes that are faithful to the site and faithful to their God. They're faithful to the learning and applying, and they're all on their journey. But I love this because your story is being written, Dawn. Your story is being written. Mm-hmm. And now wow, you have been trained to be frugal. So now when you have an increase in income, stay frugal. And why? Well, it just proved to you that $60,000 the year before had to have been wasted because you guys did fine on $14,000. You managed to make it on $14,000 in 1 year for a family. You guys have 2 kids or 3?
We have 2 in the home at that time.
Okay.
We have 4 kids total.
Wow. Okay, so with 2 kids, 2 adults, we have, we know that we don't need that. We don't need to be spending $60,000 extra a year. So now, when you get your income back up, your husband has the time to heal, you continue to focus on building that massage therapy business, coupled with some holistic healthcare that goes along with it. As you do this, now what you have is an extra bonus of $60,000 a year that you can do what with? Even if it's just take half of it and put it aside for what? The next winter season.
Right. Exactly.
Put it aside.
Make it grow.
Exactly.
What we were able to do with our tax return this year, we were able to take $500 and start an investment account, and now I can put money into that every month. So,
yes.
It's just being smarter and doing the right thing.
Yes. And if you take the other half of that $60,000 that you will make again in a year, then you take that other half and you pay off debt. So now what I know is the lesson that God has taught you through this entire experience and his loving kindness that prepared you by bringing you to First Step Success and creating a dynasty in advance. He prepared you emotionally. He prepared you skillfully in communication with a husband that's been broken and to communicate more effectively with your kids and walking them through this experience, and then to prepare you even financially and to know, wow, even losing $60,000 in 1 year, $74,000 income to $14,000 income. We did not become homeless. We did not go hungry. We had food on the table every day, and we had a roof over our head. Now we know. Imagine if you keep your expenses down like that as you grow your massage therapy business and dad gets back on the shtick again with his profession. Right. You're going to be turning over six figures, but you're not going to be stupid. You're going to save. No, you're going to plan. You're going to invest. You're going to give.
Houses. We're doing all kinds of things now, and our income's already this year, well, over half of what we made last year in the first quarter. So that's how I know we're on the right path. We're being faithful because God's blessing us.
That's
over
awesome.
The top.
That's awesome. Woohoo!
I know.
Congratulations.
I know.
So that'll be at least a doubling of income this year. So, and again, don't touch the double. Don't touch the double. No. Don't touch the double. Sock it away, because there is going to be another winter season. And you know what's so awesome is you know how to deal with the winter season. You know how to. Those are the people that succeed. I'm serious. Those who can't handle the winter season don't succeed. They quit every time they hit a winter season. No, you grew during this winter season. I'm proud of you. Thank you for being a faithful wife. Thank you for setting an example for all of us and sharing your winter season and how you managed to deal with it and the skill sets that you applied to be able to sustain your family, and your commitment level is amazing. So I'm really proud of you, Dawn. Thanks so much for taking time to be with us today. We have now joining us Shane Houston. Grew up with a single mom who was always broke, a single mom that was always needing help. And really did not support her little business endeavors that seemed to always end up in broke, always ending up not making any money. Well, his mother came out to a First Steps to Success and creating a dynasty. Her whole life completely turned around. As a result of that, inspired her son and her two daughters to live a completely different life. The whole family has gone through a massive transformation. You're going to be so inspired when you hear Shane. Shane Houston, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, Dani. How you doing?
Good. Is Canada cold right now?
It's warming up, but that'd probably still be cold for you.
You're probably right.
I think it's like 40 degrees.
Oh, my gosh. Shane, for a Texas, that is freezing.
Does it get that cold?
Yeah, once in a great while. That's frigid. Only 2 to 3 months out of the year will we ever see temperatures close to that or like that, but definitely not for a week at a time or anything like that. So it might be a couple of days, but that's it. And then it shoots up to 85, which is amazing. Anyway, Shane, I love your story, and it's been so fun. I mean, I think the first time I laid eyes on you, you were a teenager. And, now you're a young man and a businessman at that, a very successful businessman. And your whole family has a great testimony. So tell us, before tapping into First Step Success, where were you at financially and in every other way?
Yeah, before coming to First Steps, I was 18. I was in college, and I was working part-time at a grocery store. I was in debt. I had my student loan, obviously, but also I was given a truck, but for some reason I felt it was a good idea to take out a loan and buy a car. So I had a car loan as well.
Wait, because one truck was not enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I convinced myself it'd be cheaper on gas or something. I don't know what I was thinking, to be honest with you.
Well, you were 18. You weren't thinking.
Yeah, that's correct. And And I was literally, I can remember living paycheck to paycheck from the grocery store. Like, it would be the day, that day when I get paid, I'd be waiting because I'd have no money in the bank because I just wasted on food and entertainment and the cafeteria at the college and things like that.
Wow. Now, is that how Mom raised you, paycheck to paycheck?
I don't remember her getting many paychecks.
You just remember her never having any money.
Yeah.
Now, what an interesting thing. You know, this is what I find to be so interesting. Here you are, 18 years old, right? You're working part-time at a grocery store. You're going to college full-time. You decide to finance a car, and it doesn't even like hit you that, hold on a second, man, how do I not ever have enough money? And yet we are blowing it on food. We're blowing it on entertainment. We're blowing it on a new car. We're blowing it. Never even dawning on us, where's my money going and what the heck am I doing? But we just kind of settle in, and largely because of the environment in which we're raised in. If Mom and Dad never had any money, then we grow up doing the same thing. We blow it like they do, and we never have any money. We think that's normal. Well, Shane didn't just settle for that. Wait till you hear the rest of his story. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
Coming up next, Shane was a typical college student with a ton of school and car debt. So how did he pay it off working part-time at a grocery store? Find out next on The Dani Johnson Show.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
Change your habits, change your future. This is The Dani Johnson Show.
What's your definition of success? Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. Welcome to The Dani Johnson Show. We talk about success every single day, and not the standard status quo of it that just completely needs to be kicked in the gut because it's such a lie. You see, the standard status quo of success says just live a lie. Yeah, look like you're successful to everybody. I remember having one of our clients on the show, and she was telling me how part of the way that she put herself in $100,000 worth of debt was when she was in college buying dinner and lunch for her friends, trying to keep up with their rich families that they came from. She was not rich, but she was going into debt buying lunch. So she somehow looked powerful, and she wanted to fool them that she didn't come from the impoverished lifestyle that she grew up in, but that she was one of them. So she's footing the bill for that. Like, what in the world? And then here we go, $100,000 in debt. Isn't that crazy? Well, here's Shane Houston from Canada. He was 18 years old when he first graced the room of First Steps to Success, our 3-day training seminar that trains you up for business, finance, and relationships, shows you exactly how to get promoted in your career, starting a business, or grow that business, all the while without sacrificing your relationships, the people that you love, not sacrificing the fun that should be in your life. If you don't have any, you and I need to have a talk, honey. You gotta have fun. Otherwise, what are you doing with your life? Anyway, so this First Steps to Success, Shane came to that when he was 18 years old. And there he was with a car payment already, student loans, working part-time at a grocery store, and spending all of his check each week on food and entertainment. Shane, you finally got a wake-up call at First Steps to Success. What happened after that?
Yeah, after my first event, I can remember just applying one specific strategy I learned that you taught at that event. I was actually able to pay off my student loan and my entire car loan while still in school full-time, just working part-time at the same grocery store for the same amount of money that I made before. That was just blowing on food and entertainment.
Wow.
And the car loan was about $8,500, if I can remember correctly.
Wow. So you paid off your debt coming out of your very first training seminar. on the same income, part-time at a grocery store, the same job that you had where you never had any money. Now all of a sudden you realize you had money and you were taught how to value that dollar and now point the dollar specifically to attacking the debt. So how long did it take to pay off the debt?
While I was in school over 2 years, so within that time.
Okay, so today you're a businessman, and you started a painting company, and you started a travel business. And tell us what that looks like today.
Yeah, so I started my painting company when I was 20, and so I've had it for 5 years now. I've never paid for advertising with it. Just using a lot of strategies I've learned from you. And there was a time where I felt kind of comfortable. I got kind of proud that I was young. I owned a painting company. I wasn't doing that good, but I thought I was doing pretty good. So I decided I felt like I didn't need to go to your events anymore. And I took about a year off, 2011. And a friend convinced me to go back. So I did 2012, January. I went back. And 2.5 months after that event, I actually was able to generate over $20,000 in my painting company, which was almost as much as I'd made the year before.
Okay, now hold on a second.
When I thought I was doing good.
That's amazing. Now look at this. Now check this out. I love this. Okay, here, I believe with my whole heart that there is plenty of money out there to be made. It really is a question of our skill set and our vision. And when we begin to think higher of ourselves than we ought, and we think, I'm doing good, man. No one else my age has their own company making what I'm making. I'm all right. And there is a major price for unplugging from being teachable. There's a major price that gets paid for not continuing to advance your skill set, not continuing to grow, not continuing to push ahead. And so look, you had the business right there. You had the opportunity as a paint contractor to make $20,000 quickly. You just couldn't see it, or you didn't have the skill to do it. Which one was it?
I think both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you made $20,000 how fast?
It was about 2.5 months.
In 2.5 months, you made $20,000 with the same painting business that you made $20,000 the whole year before.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing, Shane. I love it. I love it. Okay, and then what happened?
Okay, then actually this year is my first time having an employee with me full time, and I've actually negotiated deals with some other contractors, and I'm on track to double my income this year with my painting company.
Wow.
But I also do have a home business part-time that I run, and it's after getting started with that, my very first month, just working really part-time, I was only doing about 5 hours a week, actually, and I was able to generate $9,705 in that my very first month.
Wow.
And then I also had surgery, and I was bedridden for an entire month, September 2013. And so I obviously couldn't paint. I had no income coming in from my painting company. I hired people out, and I think I made about $50 in my painting company that month. But I laid in my bed the whole time with my laptop and my phone and your script books, and I made another $9,000 that month in my bed.
Okay, Shane, you're now 25. You obviously are doing well financially. You obviously are not putting yourself in debt. You're being wise with money. What do you say to that 18-year-old that, you know, kind of grew up the way you did? You grew up with a single mom who never had any money. You know, even food sometimes was sparse in the house that you grew up in. And they're sitting here listening to you, deciding whether or not they should follow the same instructions that you did. What do you say to that young kid that's working at a grocery store, going to college, already has a big loan on a car, and blowing all of his cash every single week on food and entertainment?
I think I would say don't look at everything around you and be comfortable where you are, because there is a lot more out there that's available. We just got to be able to, and sometimes we can't see it because we're so engulfed with like where we are.
Yep.
Just to find a way to get there, because really I can't even imagine what my life would look like right now if I didn't actually go. And I didn't want to go to that first event. My mom made me go. And I really cannot imagine where I'd be right now or what it would look like, and I don't even want to know.
Yeah, yeah. What does the future look like for you, Shane?
the future for me, I want to invest in real estate is my goal. Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to stock away as much cash as I can from both my income, revenue, like areas, and I want to invest in real estate.
Yeah. So your future looks pretty bright, and you have some good financial skills. You've got some good business skills. You're single, or are you dating, or?
I am dating.
Okay, good.
Yep. And she's going to be in Orlando.
Nice. Yeah, it's a really good prerequisite for a guy looking for a wife. She's got to go through first steps to success in creating a dynasty for sure. We have to see how she responds to the community and to the teaching. You certainly don't want to marry a chick that believes in going into debt and, wants to rack up credit cards and wants a big giant house just to impress everybody. You don't need that kind of pressure. So I'm so happy that you're bringing her. I can't wait to see her. Hopefully get the chance to meet her. Shane, I'm so proud of you. I really am. You're an inspiration for people. And what a blessing. Now look at that. God intervened. I believe that God answered Shane's mother's cry, that she prayed blessing over her children, and her children today are very, very blessed, and that she didn't want her kids to fail financially the way that she had. And by the way, that mom who went to that same seminar that Shane's talking about, she made $250,000 her first year in a business. Wow. From failing and no money to $250,000 in 1 year. It's amazing. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your freedom, your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
You're being set up. So it's time to step up. We heard a lot of awesome nuggets today. Remember Dawn talking about the winter season that her family went through, but right before that, God set her up for success. How? Taught her how to be frugal with money, taught her new strategies through using War on Debt and our debt elimination financial independence system. So through those things, she was able and prepared that when the income fell by $60,000, she knew what to do. Not to mention that when even some emotional things happened, she knew how to handle that. That's why I know. And I also look at Shane. He was prepared. He was prepared in advance. Here, his mom comes out to a seminar. He comes at 18. He was already in debt at 18, already had a car loan, already had student loans, already spending every dime that he made part-time at a grocery store, right? He was already on a bad financial destructive path at the age of 18. But look at how faithful the God we serve is, that he intervened and prepared them in advance for what was to come. So now he's 25, debt-free, running 2 companies, making money. How awesome is that? And now Dawn already has increased her income in 2015. And so I know this, you're being set up, whether you're in that winter, dry, broken season, or you are in that flourishing, harvesting season. You're being set up. Life every day gives us opportunity to learn new and important things to help us on our journey towards our destiny. And I believe that our journey has success in it. And I believe it also has some failures in it. But at the end of the day, the greatest success book shows that we win. We win, and we will prevail, and we are the head, and we are not the tail. And so if you have enjoyed today's program, you've been inspired by these stories, I really encourage you to share them. Share them in your social media platforms. If you haven't joined us on Facebook yet, facebook.com/Dani Johnson Live. So you can find us. Dani Johnson Live is the name of our page. You'll meet these two. They are active on our Facebook page. Come on over and say hello to them. Even come and encourage them. If you're on our website, DaniJohnson.com, I want to give you something. First Steps to Wealth. It's something that both of them mentioned. In fact, Dawn had said the law of decision. That's written about in First Steps to Wealth. We'd love to give you a free copy of it. You can have the ebook right now sent to you immediately. Call this phone number, 866-760-8255. Again, that's 866-760-8255. 8255. Ask for Nellie. She'd be happy to serve you and get you your copy immediately. If you want the physical copy, you cover the shipping. I'll pay for the $15 book. I think that's a fair deal. Again, that's First Steps to Wealth. And lastly, Shane didn't mention this while I was interviewing him, but I know that he's a part of a group that is doing this. You know, we are a group of people that are business people, independent business people that believe using our skill sets and our abilities to help the extreme poor. We're working on a project in Santa Pancha, Nicaragua right now because it's extreme poverty. That kind of poverty does not exist in Canada, and it doesn't exist in the US, and it doesn't exist in Europe, but it exists in places like Nicaragua. Go to that website, kingsransom.org. Again, that's kingsransom.org, and look into that project and join us on this adventure of building homes for the extreme poor who are homeless and have no food and water. You can make a huge difference. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.
This has been the Dani Johnson Show. If you want to hear more, visit us at DaniJohnson.com.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson YouTube channel. We're super excited to have you here. And every single week, we're going to make sure that you get awesome videos for your business, career, making more money, saving money, annihilating your debt, as well as helping you to handle those really tough problems that you have with people at home, as well as at work, and taking those really good relationships you already have and causing them to flourish and grow. All you have to do is click that subscribe button right down here. Click that and you'll be subscribed to an amazing community of people, as well as some great videos that will help to improve your life. Thanks so much for being here. Subscribe now would be good. Just click it. I know you can see it. It's somewhere down here. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.